Hello. Ah, oh, are we here now? Seem to be. I think I'm going to hear an echo of myself in about 30 seconds if this isn't the case. Boop-a-doop. This seems automatic. Hmm. Yeah? Anyway, I think all's good now. What does OBS say? OBS seems to like it. I think I'm actually there. Good. Okay, so in order to sort of avoid anything annoying happening, I'm just going to carry on speaking and assume it all works, which is great. So what am I doing today? I am writing a sort of file listing program in Rust. It's like standard LS program, except we've got colors. Oh, I've got myself open in another tab there, and no wonder I was getting so confused. Anyway, I've got this little file listing program. What have we got? We've got colors. We've got same defaults, I think. We've got git status. We've got all sorts of file types. Right now, I'm working on getting this, working on getting the date column. I'm really paranoid about my audio settings. Thanks for putting up with that sort of test, self-test that I had going on there. So yeah, assuming that this is going to work. Right now, I'm writing code that checks to see, and the date is, you say the volume is too low. Oh, let me just turn it up. How's that? This is what happens when you're the first person to actually see me do this. I don't want to deafen anyone. I don't want to be too low. Computers are complicated. I am going to wait for a response from you before I do any more here. Yeah. That's another thing as well. Whenever I talk in the chat, I'll just put it to the max then. That's. How's this? Too loud? Too quiet? If I talk in the chat and I hit space, it also unpauses the video of myself. Go all the way. I don't know how loud that level is. I'd like it if it said up to 11 or something like that. I'll just have sound down there and sort of mentally pull it every occasion. Yes. Right now, I've got one column, and if I run ls with that, it'll be date modified. If I happens if I run this on Slack, because that has different ones, you can see that it's aligning everything okay. There's a bit of space there, but I'll worry about that later. What I want to do is have separate timestamps for date modified, dates accessed, and date created. If I search for Rust file stat, you'll see that it offers me created, modified, and accessed time columns. So, looking at here, we do have a timestamp, and I'm going to change that to do, instead of timestamp, it's going to be time type, as I guess is the best way of calling that. And here's the list of struct of everything I have as sort field. This for size format, I'm going to do another one here. Derive everything I need to do. Pub enum time type. I believe I call it time type. I've already forgotten. File accessed, file modified, file created, and time type. Time type. Public function deduce. We can get a similar thing going on here. That was odd. I'm not exactly amazingly hot on the whole Vim front. So here, this function signature means looking at the list of command line arguments that the person has passed in, not to get a time type from that, and if they've passed in more than one, I think I thought we didn't need to do that at all. If we look at the getOps method, see here, so instead of just always passing in, see here, if self dot we want to always pushing and pass in self.timetype, and then we populate self.timetype earlier on. So this will be time type. Oop. I should probably put the underscore there to conform to the way Rust likes to do things. And then we can go try time type deduce from matches. Enum time type. Here we are, and import time type. Again, I really can't spell today. I was up with that. Just clicking my volume. Yep, I've got volume now. I'm really paranoid. So, what do we want the command line interface to be? I think, if we look up here, I've got all of these options. I think I'm going to add another one for t, that's a small t, and that's time, and that will show which time, and that'll be the time property to display. No, how do I phrase this? Well? This will be the timestamp field to show word. And just find a deduce method that I can use. Yeah, you see here size format. No, it's not size format I want, it's a sort field. You see sort field. Where's it find? Ah, here it is. Yeah, you see sort field takes its argument from a word, and if the user doesn't pass in the right one of those, it's not going to work. So just steal this and type. Delete that, and then adapt this to work with time type. So sort field instead of sort field, it's time type. And how do we do this? Let's call it mod or modified. Will be time type file modified. Or accessed will be file accessed, and cr or a line. Created will be okay type file created. It seems fairly self-explanatory. Vim, don't need any of that. Feel free to ask questions of anything you don't understand. I'd like to explain things as I go. Here's a question. What does exclamation mark mean in Rust? Exclamation mark means it's invoking a macro instead of a function. For example, you can see earlier I did a try exclamation mark instead of just try. Now that has to be a macro, because if it fails, it will return early, and in a function can't just break the control flow like that, which is why that's a macro. And the language developers thought it would be a fantastic idea if this was, they thought it would be good if you could tell these two apart, so you're surprised less by your code, and I am behind them on that. So that's what the exclamation mark means. Other thing you can do in a macro is have your type checked at compile time. So for example here, format sort field, that would actually be time. I think I called it time, yeah. Let's see if this cargo build, see if this compiles. It's probably a fault. Yeah. What have I called it? Time type is not allowed in column. I'm just gonna fix this really quickly and then get back to the question. Use options, size format as well as size format on time type. Is it working now? I didn't call it deduce, did I? Where was the even error? Oh yeah, in options. 9342, not deduce, it'll be from word. And there's some other options that we'll fix later. Some other errors, I mean. So here you see that there's try exclamation mark instead of just try. That's because this code will get expanded to, in fact I can bring up the macro. You can see here that this code will get expanded to some other code that will use a return. That yeah. Oh, good. That return. Yeah. So that will expand to have a return in my own code, and that will a return early if something fails. If it were just try like that, it would a return from the try function, and it wouldn't work correctly. This function here, just to make things clear, is turning the command line options object into a columns object, and if the user has passed in incorrect values, then I'd rather have them. That's my voice. Really don't like my voice, but that's just me. Yeah, I'm turning their command line strings into an object, and if they haven't typed in valid options, I'd rather have it fail early. So that's what's going on there. Anyway, what errors was this? Oh yes, I've added a value to the timestamp field, and it's complaining that there's only one value. So, oops, where's it saying? Line, column line 48. What line am I on? That one. That is true. That is an excellent point, compiler. I will have you on that. So let's have something called T. Here, the size column is going to be always called size, no matter what type of file size it's using. There's probably an easier way to do that in Vim, but I'm just going to do that. So here, this make a function t.header, and then back in option, impl time type. Let's have an extra one. Set no wrap. Make it look a bit better. Forgot to change that to time type. That function wouldn't actually be called, so the compiler would caught that, but it's good to do it now. What do I call this? I call it header, and that would take self, and this would return a static string. Now, let's match on self. File accessed would be date accessed. File modified would be date modified, and file created would just be date created. Actually, that's not going to be right. It's going to be time type :: that first. What else have we got to fix, compiler? Tell me my errors. You need one. Yes. We need to pass in the field to the timestamp function method. Sorry. Let's go to there. Now, this is where the actual logic is going to be done. So we have time type of type time type. Let time in seconds. Right now, you can see that we're only using the modified field. So instead of that, let time in seconds equals match time type. Time type, file access. Oops. Do you want to do this here? I think I should do this here instead of having it in its own function. And if it's file access time, this will be self stat.accessed. Time type, file modified, self stat.modified, time type, file created, self stat.created, and that's as I64 divided by 1000 because we need to convert it from milliseconds into seconds. In fact, that's an important enough thing. I'm going to write it as a comment. As a comment, not as a preprocessor directive. Need to convert these values from milliseconds into seconds. And then, instead of that, we... Ooh, that's weird. In seconds, still not used to Vim's autocomplete. What else have we got to do? Oh, I'm not actually declaring time type anywhere. There we go. There's size format, and instead of size format, it's going to be both size format and time type. There we go. Options, now 350. It's complaining that there is no columns. Yes, of course there isn't. I haven't added one yet. Time type is going to be that and that. That actually works. I think we're down to one last error. This will be good, won't it? What is going wrong here? Options line 351. What? Which one? That one. No, that's not. That's line 351. It's complaining that it's not allowing me to use the word for matches. Actually, that is because this doesn't take a matches object, it just takes a string. Let's find where I'm doing this the last time. Matches.optstr. Okay, matches.optstr time. There's an extra white space at the end there. And oh yes, I suppose it might not be there. Okay, the last time I do this, yes, that's because it needs to accept a default. What's the best way to do this? Let me drink my tea. How long have I been coding for? My tea's actually gone slightly cold. I wonder why, but I don't care at all. So I'm just going to go silent for about 15 seconds. Checking everything's okay with Reddit and Watch People Code. It says I'm streaming to 51 people now, which I think is absolutely amazing. Hi everyone. When I was on Twitch, I was getting less than 1/10 of this. I think a lot of this is due to the Watch People Code subreddit, which was featured on Hacker News the other day. I'm actually having quite a lot of fun doing this, and I hope to continue on with it, if only because streaming to all of these people is actually kind of frightening me into doing work. If I were by myself, I would just think, I've done enough coding today, let's watch some, funny meme images or whatever. Volume ++, you say? Again? Let's see what I can do here. It says it's maximum. It says it's maximum. Is it really that quiet? Maybe I can change something in OBS. I don't believe so. I can go down, but not up. I'm at maximum volume. Is it really that quiet? Yeah, I think you can turn the volume up on your end, but I literally can't turn it up any higher. Look at this. Look, I've got the slider all the way to 100. I've got the microphone as high as it can go. I think there is a tool for Macs that allows you to increase the microphone volume, but I can't quite remember its name. It's done by the same people who make Audio Hijack, so I'm afraid you'll just have to turn it up on your own end. Sorry to have to tell you that. Now that I have people saying things in chat, I will say again, if there's anything you want me to explain about my code or the language or my dev setup, just please say so. I will be happy to answer. Look, I will be happy to answer your questions. So I guess the sort of hacky way to do this is to use the unwrap or method and pass in mod.toString. That's really A, inefficient, and B, not the sort of thing I want to be coding. That, however, is a much more silly a mistake on my part. What was it? It was in column, wasn't it? I suppose the bad thing about having this is that I can't see my cursor very well. Shall I set cursor line? Is that the command? Ah, that's a great help, actually. Yeah. Anyway, fun header. That needs to be pub fun header. That is as simple as that is. And we're here. So if we test it, allow time equals accessed. Let's pass in the header as well. Date accessed, date modified, date created. I'm assuming that those are right. If I look at my slash, if I look at my slash, the date created things are probably going to be different from modified. Some things aren't modified. Let's just look at here again. Okay, no, from the top. One for date modified, date created, date accessed. These seem to be different values, if you ask me. I think that actually kind of works. Go me. However, there is one thing I'm not quite happy with, and that's toString, was it? Yes, it was this. This is inefficient because of the way strings work in Rust. There are string slices and there are allocating strings. So every time I do something .toString, that'll allocate. Hang on, thanks for testing my sound, everyone. Every time I do toString, it will allocate the string in memory in the heap, and then I pass that to unwrap or, so that string might not be used at all anyway, which is inefficient. I'm sure it's in the order of milliseconds, given how fast computers seem to be these days. But still, I'm not happy with that code. I will have to do something else about it. So I guess the best way to do this is, instead of having time type in the columns, where did I just go? Time type. Let's go back to where I was. There is a command in Vim to go back to where you were, but I can't quite remember it, unfortunately. So if we change time type to be an option of time type instead, then no, that's actually not the way to do it. am I making this so hard on myself? I know what to do. Let's, instead of deduce, no, instead of from word, we'll call it deduce. Instead of that, we'll just call it matches. And column is an option. Import time type, yeah. I think I've already got a function called deduce, so from XL. Is it not working? Deduce. My from completion doesn't seem to be working. I'll just type it out manually then. Okay, from deduce with matches will be a pointer to get matches object, and that will return a time type. It will always return the time type, I think. No, it won't. It will turn either a result. No, it will return either a time type or a failure. It will turn either that. That's now we're gonna set. Ooh, I deleted the wrong line. I typed out a line of code and then immediately deleted it. I'm so clever. I was saying earlier that I think programmers are harder on themselves than they need to be. It's like, oh no, I made a tiny error. However, will I forgive myself for doing this tiny typo in my code? And it takes like 3 seconds to fix. 3 seconds to fix? 1 second to fix if you're using a decent editor. And then you can sort of go out, spend too much money on food, spend all day in front of the computer, and you don't apply the same thing to you. You don't... I'm just going crazy. So, what am I doing here? What I want to do, let word equals... No, we don't want to do that at all. If let word equals matches obstra tree, that will return either some or none. Actually, no. Let's just do let word equals that. And we might be able to do this all. So we get the tree from the matches object, and let possible word. If let some word equals possible word, then do that. Otherwise, we just want to use time type file modified, and that is much better, except where I messed up my indentation. No, I don't see where it's going wrong. What are you complaining about, compiler? What are you complaining about? Oh, that's somewhere completely different. Extra close bracket instead of an extra open bracket. That was where I was going wrong. 293, I think I called it get opt instead of get ops. To be fair, it's not obvious which one it is. What's it saying? It's saying instead of having a guaranteed time type, that operation may fail. And yes, of course, we just want to do, if you're at that point, everything you do will work, so we don't need to worry about. Oh my god. I think I undid that edit earlier. I accidentally hit U and got extremely confused as to why Vim just jumped up. Anyway, modified, created, accessed. There we go. And for once, I'm actually happy with the code. There's a way to touch files that... There's a way to use the touch command that sets the timestamp of the file to a certain value, but I can't remember it. So I think that's actually enough testing for me. Oh, no, things we haven't tested. Test equals views time equals nonsense. It's still working. That shouldn't be the case. That should not work. If I pass in L time equals nonsense, that should find here. That should go there. That should overturn an error. How come it's not working? Find where I'm using that. That's very odd. I wonder why that's happening. Did I forget to build? No, it's still doing it. What is up with that? I ask you. You know, it's kind of annoying that all the files in all the lengths of the names of the months of the files in the folder all have the same length. Which means I couldn't test my, yeah, there we go. They are doing it to the right. It took a while to implement that, so I'm quite happy with it, and I'm glad to see it actually work. Where's this going wrong? Where is this going wrong? How about instead of doing on I just outright panic. Still doing it. Is it not getting there? Is it not reaching? So it's always going to find field. I'm just a little bit confused, you know. Huh. I'm stumped. What's going on here? Let's go through it from the top. Ah! That's why. I call it tree instead of time, so it's always going to be the... Yeah, of course, no, that thing is tree. Yep, unorganized option, time nonsense. If I find the modified... don't do it there. Find the one that's modified. If I call it modified like that, it still works. If I call it a typo, it doesn't. If I don't pass in anything, it gets confused. If I do it normally, it does the modified time. I think that works. Perfect. Anyway, where are we? Am I next? Yeah, I'm in next. Get diff. What have I got? Oh, this is actually the first time I've committed the... Am I in the... Yes, I am in the timestamps branch. So I've added a load of things there. Actually, I can kind of... If I do that, it'll show me which files I've changed in my own tool. Ha! This tool is already helping me. That's perfect. So, oh, hang on. Oh, output. Yeah, I made. I wondered how come there was a folder called output, but it turns out I made it in February the 5th, and I do remember creating it in February the 5th. Programmers are absent-minded sometimes, aren't we? Be able to keep an entire state of a program in our heads at one time, and then we're like, where did I create that folder? And, sorry, just need to cough. Being really self-conscious about coughing every time I do it. It's just funny because I haven't needed to think about coughing before doing these live streams. Apparently, 64 people heard my cough. Well, 63 including myself. But hey. Just a second as I... I'm not sure if you can hear the sounds that my computer makes. I don't think you can because I've set OBS to only record from one device. But still, it must be as hard for you as it is for me to sort of hear a voice for half a second just all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm sure that ain't good. Making sure my links still work. Cool beans. You know what? It actually seems to. So, diff, we've done that. Changes to there. I must have updated the URL package. Tons of other packages. Getting into this. So what stuff have we changed? Okay. Added the timestamp. They're all changed because they've been indented. Added the extra space, pad alignment. We're using the datetime crate now. Hi, Kyle. I am using Vim inside tmux inside terminal.app on OS 10. It's just standard terminal window. I think I'm using Tomorrow Night color scheme, which I've changed the color slightly, but that will be the scheme. Inside that, I'm using tmux, which does the line at the bottom there, and I can switch between them with Control Z twice, or Control Z if you're American. And inside there is Vim. Yeah, that's it really. I guess my shell is Zush or the Z shell, but I don't have many special things done in my shell, so I'm not really going to go into that. Also, I've added the timestamp method. I need that. Here will be. There's a commit there. There's an edit there that isn't exactly part of this, although I'm not going to leave it. It's a bug fix. I will commit a bug fix without hesitation. Here's the code for doing that, and that's it. So, what have we got to do? Let's get add git add dot, and then git commit initial work on date time columns for files. Using the datetime crate, add an extra column to the long view that prints out the modified, accessed, or created timestamp for each file. Also, parse the options for also let the user pick which one they want to see based on the time command line option. And that's that. And I've realised 1 second too late that I forgot to update the README. So I'm just going to do that second. Control Y is very helpful in Vim here. It inserts the character above the line. Ooh, not that one. So if I do Control Y twice here, I get the same thing again. Time. What do I call it? Timestamp field to show. I'm not sure if that's exactly the best way to put it, but I can't think of anything else to say for either the created, accessed, or changed I'll change one. You know what? I'm just going to steal it from ls. If I do man ls, date, access, does ls not allow it? Modified, sort by time modified, used time of last access, or use time of last creation. It's also doing -u and -big U for the same thing, which I should also add in for ls compatibility, and I will do that at some point. Probably next, actually. That seems like a fairly good thing to have here. Timestamp field show. Which timestamp to show? That's a good one. Per file. Yep, there we go. Which timestamp to show for a file? Commit AM, change time options description. Give it a push. I called it GitHub. Whoa. It's because in my keyboard, Control M and Control W are right by each other, so every time I was trying to hit Control W to evade the last word, it hit Control M, which is the same thing as Enter, which just did it. So anyway, I call this thing GitHub. Git plus GitHub master. This is embarrassing to say. I'm going to open Tower here, the GUI, and I'm going to manually drag timestamps to GitHub because I can't remember what the publish command reads like. Yep, that's there. I find that's a lot easier than remembering things. GitHub, Exa, looking at my browser now. There's now a timestamps one. So yeah, that all seems to be working. I've been coding for about an hour, so I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, stand up, stretch my legs, make myself some more tea, that sort of thing. If you are also at your computer, I encourage you to do the same thing. People in our field of work always suffer from carpal tunnel syndrome, bad fingers from spending all day typing, repetitive strain injury. I once had that for a week and it was horrible because I wasn't allowed to use the computer, and I don't wish that fate on anyone. So I will just say dev null gone to make tea back in 3 minutes. I will encourage you to do the same. See you then. again, everybody. I made myself another cup of tea and realised that it's 4:45 and I haven't actually eaten yet today, so I've got this little thing of microwavable rice in front of me. Anywho, okay. Here's an idea I have. I'm going to open a new one, open new Vim, rename session to do. Oh, whoops. Rename session to exa and rename window to do. You see down here I've got 5 terminal windows open, but I've also got 2 sessions, one for this other thing. This is the one I'm doing. Over here, set mark things to get done in the next hour or so. Things to get done in the next arbitrary time period. And U options like ls. Improve error handling for invalid options. What they're saying in the chat, exclamation mark in a return type means the function can't return. It's the opposite, I think. It means the function can return and you should be alerted to that fact. Have you ever coded in sample Java, C#, C++, Ruby, Python, Perl, a language with exception handling? If you do a throw when you're really deep down in the code, that exception can just go higher and higher and higher as it sort of returns early through several functions. You can't do that in Rust, but you can make it easier to do if you use macros, which are functions that have the exclamation mark in their names. That is what that is for. You will probably see it at some point in the next half hour because it's a really helpful technique, I find. And yeah, it does. It makes your code much easier to reason about, at least in my humble opinion. Actually, another thing I'm going to do here is currently working on exa, my little file listing program. Get it at safe. Read about it at rustlang.org. I don't save that, I'll just have it as a temporary Vim buffer. So, what am I doing here? Add new options like ls. I think I'll do that. Oh, I just realised here that these don't quite match up. If I put my cursor on, say, H, yeah, we've got it at L. Oh, for example, there. Also, those two are in the wrong place. Let's make this alphabetical. LRRSSTTX question mark. LRRSST. Oh, I don't have 3 in there either. Maybe I'll put that in now. Again, Control Y in Vim just inserts the thing above you, which which I'm finding really helpful here. So big tree recurs into subdirectories in a tree view. And yeah. Now in LS, they've got the U and capital U options. Actually, that's the thing. You need to find a way to sort by that. It's sorting. Oh, and that's displaying. I see what it's doing there. I think the best thing for us to do is to include those and the time opt, so people can either use the short form or the long form, just depending on how they're feeling that day. These tools have multiple options, and that's probably fine. Someone's linked me to the Rust subreddit. Hey, /r/Rust. Nice to see you again. The other thing I have here is improve error handling for invalid options. Right now, if you just type, actually I'm going to start using Exa because I've got kind of I've got ls mapped to Exa because I use Exa way more than ls now, so that's why my ls looks all weird, but for your sakes I think I would just type Exa. Sorry again. Again, I'm really self-conscious about coughing. What is up with that? So if I do Exa-L, I can also include I can switch from using it in, actually now think of different, I'll use another example. Oop, not that one. 8. I've got the number of hard links as a column, as you can see. That's added in there. But if I don't have the H view, it'll say option links doesn't make any sense without option long. And I think I'd rather have that than have my program just accept that silently. I think I'd rather have invalid options fail so the user can retype them than have them be successful. That may change in the future, but for now that's where my gut lies. However, I don't think I have the same thing going on here, so if I do time equals created, it'll still do that even though that makes no sense. So the best way to do that, in options, in the, I think somewhere I have a bunch of checks. Where is it? Here it is. Yes, you see here? I've got a bunch of checks just to make sure that you can't pass, for example, the links option if you don't also pass in long, and I'm checking for long at the very top there. That all works. Also, if matches dot oct resident, what do I call it? Time. The misfire useless, which means that that argument makes no sense without another one. Time is useless without long. That's what that means. Now, build. Now, yes, time is useless without option long, and if I pass in long, that just returns them there. Just to make sure we know what them are. Okay, so that's done. Git diff, that's all it is. Git commit am forbid time without long option 2. It's not master, is it? It's timestamps. I didn't do anything. I'm just going to check here in the background that I didn't accidentally push to the wrong remote branch. No, I didn't. Good. Go to the timestamp branch. Seems to be working. Okay then. Where was I? Improve our handling friend options. Done. Done. I really can't type today. Where was I? That's done, so we need to add U and U. This is actually going to be quite confusing because we've just done that one. We've just done that one, so that's going to be even more arguments that can clash. They won't work together. So, what do we do? First things first, you find... we sort of just add the options in the first place, and these are U and U. So, U... what does ls call them? Use time of last access. I'll just call them accessed, I think. Yeah. Oops. Change in quotes. Use time of last. Display time of last access. Actually, could we allow the user to have more than one? I think that might work as well. Yeah, how about that? User last accessed and capital U is going to mean created. Display time of display time a timestamp of last access for a file. Display timestamp of creation for a file, and then here let's call it M modified. Most recent modification. I say this every time, I'm sure, but okay, I just heard myself speaking again. I say this every time, I'm sure, but feel free to ask me things about parts that you don't understand, be this the programming language Rust, or my editor, or my program, or just things in general. I am open to questions, and I'd like to be understood more than anything else. So, yeah. So we now have a bunch of options there that I've added in. In fact, just to if we build this and then button help, they all come in there. So seems to be it. What do we want to do here? We want a new file. We want the user to pass in -lu, and that would be display created date. If they pass in lu, like both of them, then it would be display both. So if they pass in only one, so if they don't pass in any, it should be the modified date, because that's the default. If they pass in one or more, then just display that. And if they pass in conflicting ones, then we edit. No, I mean then we error, not edit. Error and edit aren't even remotely similar. Not sure why my brain got confused there. Back in a second, just bear with me please. So, what do we do here? That buffer can go away. Yeah. What do we do here? In the deduce method of time type, I don't think we want to return just one time type anymore, because there could be more than one. But we don't want to be able to display the same type more than once, since I think that's a bit redundant. So instead of having this as an enum, oh wait, no, I do need to make it an enum, and I'm also make a struct. Copy that line, pub struct time types, and that has bool, modified to be a bool, and created, which is also a bool. Surprise, surprise. And then instead of this, instead of just one time type, we have multiple ones. I think it's only fair that we move all of these things to there, and then import time type here. That should go. Ooh, missing the return there. Delete that. Put that back where it belongs. Okay, so and time types struct now. Oh, hang on, no. That's time type. Delete that. Down the power. Put that one there. Make sure all the code's together. Logical grouping. That's what it's all about. I'll need to update that as well, don't I? Yeah. So, there are several things we need to test for here. We need to test whether they've passed in modified equals matches. I can't remember the thing. Alt present, that was it. Alt present modified. And then modified created, and then modified accessed. Yeah, again with the alignment. Oh, they only did it once. Ah, I'm silly. Forgot to pass the flag into Vim. And then we should match, instead of that, do it. I was going to match on all four, but that gives us 16 possible combinations, which I don't want to go through all of. So, here's a simple test. If they've passed in -- time equals anything, and they've also passed in some of those, I don't think we should let them do both. So if modified or created or accessed, return misfire useless. Which one do I want? Ah, yes, useless. Oh man. Oh, these are going to be so annoying to do as well. I'll show you why. If modified, return misfire useless modified to time. And then we need to do those 3 lines again for created. Ha, that's annoying logic right there. And here for accessed. Yeah, those lines don't make any sense. That should be an else if. Let's see if it compiles. Nope, I've missed something out. Ah, yeah, I missed it. I've missed 3 things out, in fact. And then I forgot to change that. Should be it. Oh wow, no, that's a lot of those. Time types. Time type is the one that has. I see. Yes, I'm not done yet. Man, has my tea gone cold again? Nope. Tea status warm. All is good with the world. What was I doing? Oh yes. Instead of this, time types accessed false modified to created false, and do the same thing here again. I'm out of Vim, so yank to there. Oops, paste. Yank to the end. Paste. Paste. Delete. Hey, that's Vim for you. Except here, that's false now. Same thing there. Created true and true. How's it looking now, compiler? Ooh, not great. Oh yes, it's complaining because by default we should now only show one type. And paste and I copied the wrong line. Oh well. False. True. Okay, now it should still have a logic error in somewhere else. I'm not sure if that's the logic error I was actually thinking of, but columns, instead of one time type we now have multiple, and here if time types dot modified columns push timestamp. Oh wait, hang on, there needs to be a self there. Self time types. Self time. No, I don't need to get time types. Timestamp. Time type. File modified. Those are the 3 lines. My PPP. Created, accessed, except with spelling. I said except with spelling, Vim. Weren't you listening to me? Change that to accessed. That should be it. Oh. Ah, all I did was forget the S there. Is that all I did? I hope that's all I did. I seem to do it. So, I think it will now fail if I try to do extra time equals accessed. Oh yeah. And with long it'll work. I'll do headers to make sure it's doing access. But then if I do that U, yeah. Those, oh, whoops. Don't need those. Don't need any of these here. They should now only have 2 hyphens apiece. Yeah, that's more like it. It's better to see, isn't it? Good stuff. However, if I do exit like U, and header, it'll still just show the date modified. I am making ls in Rust. Yes, I am. That is my tool. I think you can get the source code for all of this thing at my GitHub page. It's at the point now where it's almost feature complete. I use this several times a day, but right now I'm adding the ability to see file dates and times, which I don't need that often, so I've been fine. But I think to have a version of ls, it does have to have those, so I'm adding them now. It's usable, but it's not the least quality just yet. Yep, that's where we are now. Hi, by the way. Questions? Let's see one come in. Anywho, so if there's one, if we get a word and any other arguments will fail, but it'll succeed. and also, yes, the answer is yes. Oh, and audio. Wait, do I have audio? Man, I hope I have audio. I had a lot of audio issues earlier, and I would hate for them to be provoken again. OBS says it's audio, so I'll just take its word for it. Just need to go and turn on the light since I started coding this, the sun has gone down. I can see myself. Perils of not having a keyboard with a backlight. I'm also going to shut my curtains since I've now got a glowy computer screen right by the window, and I'd rather not advertise that fact. Audio is working. Thank you so much for saying that. It's something I've been extremely paranoid about. Yeah, I'm just glad to see that is actually there. Oop, that's my Finder window. Okay, so if the user doesn't pass in, a --time flag, we'll have to add some based on the other options that they pass in. So let's types, equals yank inside bracket. Vimfoo. Inside that, except we set everything to false, and that's mutable. Yeah, I know that some people do have the sound on mute because they have other things to do during the day, and that's fine. It's just that earlier I was really, really afraid that my sound didn't work. So that's just a fear that I have. And then, oh wait, hang on, no, I don't need to make it immutable at all. What am I doing? Access can just be accessed because I have these defined. I have all these defined up here, don't I? So, whoops, messed that one up. Created. Ugh, no, I did that wrong. Modified. So, cargo build. Let's see if this works. It compiles, which is a start. So, LH. Nothing. Yes. But if I do pass in you and you, then we have two dates. That's exactly the thing I was going for. So that part works. However, if I don't pass in any, it is still not showing me a date at all. So, if modified or created or accessed, then that. Otherwise, oops, fingers got ahead of me there. We just set false, true, false. Now, oops. Now I don't pass in any, that's unmodified. If I pass in the M, it does unmodified. If I pass in U, it does accessed. pass in capital U, it does created. Now I pass in time, it complains. Perfect. So yeah, there are the two styles of doing that. They all work together. That's pretty good. I think I can even be able to do it's lowercase m. Yeah, I can do all three. That does look slightly ugly in my opinion because I've got a bigger space between the year and the month than I do between the individual columns. So I don't think I can fix that quite yet. It's something you'll just have to put up with for the time being, I think. But that's it. So, once I hit diff, see what I've done. I've added the flags. I've added the struct. I've changed the signature of that. Oh, it's actually a different function entirely now. But yeah, I've still changed the signature of that. That now looks different. The header function's gone. Has that been moved up? That's been moved up there. That's why that's deleted. Time type changed to time type changed to time types. And instead of just pushing one timestamp, we push all three depending on if they're in the struct. That's that. So git source options, yeah, it's there. Git commit. How should I phrase this? Allow add short and options for displaying timestamps. That's a bit too long, so we'll just take off what they actually are. They'll be in the bigger commit method anyway. So, and options U, and M as shorthand options for displaying different types of timestamp. Not just one, it's possible to have more than one. You have more than one by specifying more than one of these shorthands hyphenated? No, I don't think so. Shorthands, but not when used with time, as this is only meant to display one at a time. Git push, GitHub, timestamps. There we go. What else have I got on my to-do list? Is that it for now? I'm not quite sure what to do now. I guess I could merge it back. Yes, I do have. I should really use X for -LH instead of just LL because I've got that mapped in my shell to something different. Hello again. I heard a loud crash from upstairs, so I had to go investigate that. Turns out, some things fell off my shelf and landed on the floor above me, and I heard this massive thud coming from there. So I thought I should check that out. It seemed prudent. As much as I enjoy coding this thing, it is less important to me than my house may be falling down. I think that's fair. I hope you agree. Only hope, though. Maybe not. Anywho, what next? A thing I could do to fix the kind of weird spacing issue is to only use short month names instead of long month names. Right now, it's only allowing me to use long. So, let's switch session back to the date time. And if you look up here, where is it? This is the thing that's parsing the stamps that look like date format. Oh, not there. Where is it? Oh, it's in file. Date format. Yes, you see that. So here I've got the year, the month with a minimum width of 10 wrapped to the right, and the day with a minimum width of 2 also wrapped onto the right. Date format is a macro that I have in my date time crate. That's this one, and you can see here that I've got the sort of parser to parse the numbers and turns it into year month name, etc. So yeah, I can't just switch it to a short month name because it's my code anyway, so I have to add some code in order to do that. That's the nature of coding, isn't it, really? Add one thing, add another thing. Although, have I committed any of this yet? No, I still need to do that. Oh, I'll do that now. Get status, get add source format, get add source lib, init. Hang on, forgot what I called the. Oh yeah, width. Let the user specify a field width in a format string. Maybe wrap the whole date format in sprintf to do the alignment instead of aligning the month field on its own. Sorry, Clifford, I don't understand what you mean. Are you saying just? Yeah. I getcha. Okay, so let's switch back here. If I take out that part, cargo build, that looks okay for now because all the months are the same width. But if I do something like that, you can see it's not quite right because some of the months have different lengths, and I need to give a maximum length for the month. So if I do what ls does, that is only include short month names, and in here I do have a thing for short month names. I just need to add a flag, so I can use the short version. So I am going to do that. Let use long version equals false by default, and then what shall I have the flag be? And underscore. It's quite a good way. That's quite a good one, I think. Equals. Use long version equals to. And then where am I using for? I think it's just 2 right now. Ah, yes, here it goes. Month name and weekday name. So instead of that, that will be use long version, and the same here. Use long version. So you know what? I think that's a bit too long. So I'm just going to change it to be only the word long. Use long version just to be, I don't know, long. Yeah. So here I'm going to change this so it has, instead of the month, instead of the month we have a long month, and this includes the month twice, but it's just a test. Oh yeah. Suppose I don't need to match that as N there. I just need to match it as underscore. Let's make sure that warning's gone away. Here it has. Yeah, see that? It's in there twice, which is wrong, but it's what we wanted. So now you can take out this one, and hopefully that should make everything look much nicer. Did I take out the wrong one? I took out the wrong one. I'm a clever clogs. It's saying putting the whole thing right aligned would fix the alignment for the whole thing. I don't quite agree with you there, Clifford. I would rather have each of the individual fields lining up, such as, if I can go back to LS doing it, you can see that it's still, you can see that it has all of the days, then the months, then the times, or the years. I don't want to have some years offset by a space and some like inset by another space. I think that would look funny. I do understand where you're coming from, though. Also, 18 wide. Is that really how long these are? I've lost my ability to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. Anyway, if I do this now, that's looking more like it. Fasten new, created, date access. Yeah, I am going to get the date numbers lined up. That is what I was going for. Sorry for maybe being confusing there, Clifford. I'm glad you got it now. Okay, so unfortunately I can't really push that to GitHub yet because I'm still mid-commit here. So, let the user specify a field width in a format. I didn't count either, if that makes you feel any better. Let the user specify a field width in a format similarly to how the alignment code is done. Width with number, that'll be the minimum width for this field. However, as this involves parsing at least one digit, the parser needed to be modified to support look ahead. I did this all earlier when I wasn't streaming, which I think is just as well because it wasn't very interesting. Needed to be modified. I can spell. look to support peeking ahead by one character. Yep. Status get diff. Yeah, that was actually all of them that it took. That's less than I thought it would. Git and source format, git commit, I call it. Let the user throw, pass, slide. I'm thinking of the verb to use. Add the modifier for long fields. Yeah. Yeah. Remote rename origin GitHub. It's just a habit of mine. I like to call them GitHub instead of origin, so I know exactly where my code is. That's only a me thing there. So, going back to here. Yeah, again, there's really not much to it at all. Git and actually, I'll show you something cool. You see here it says in that column that the file is changed but not staged, and if I do git add source file, the end should have moved into the left column, meaning it's been staged but not committed. That has saved my life multiple times before, so that's probably my favourite feature of this thing that I am doing right now. Git commit, use short month names to make them line up better. I'll just line up. Oops. And if I do it this, you can see that that's quite nice. I suppose there's only one thing I could do, and that's don't add that extra space there when all of the day numbers are below 10. Is that worth doing? I don't think it is, since I'd have to examine every file first and check that all of the dates are below 10 instead of just doing it line by line. And if I do, for example, recurse tree mode, it'll take a while. You can see that there's actually, you can get quite a lot of files to check. So I don't think I'll do that. Where's the top of this? Wow, there we go. So I think I'll just have to keep it like that, unfortunately. I mean, it's okay. It'll have to do, though. So what's next on my list? I guess I should put the hour, minute, second in there. I think that will make sense, but again, I need to add support in the date time library. So that's it. That's what I'm going to do. Hour, minute, second. Let's do this. From the top. See here, I've got different fields for each one. So let's just add in our no arguments. And minute and second. properties. Field. I think I need a sip of tea. I hope you're all finding this vaguely interesting, at least. I know that I am. Field hour. We'll go to here, format when hour, minute, second, minute. That wasn't so bad, was it? Then doesn't need to define. Where am I defining? Ah, here I am. No, that's text. So instead of y, we want lowercase h, m, and s, and second, minute. Oops. Go Vim. And hour. So it compiles. Nope. Local date does not. I'm doing a local date, not local time. That'll be why. Hour. So here, instead of local date, we want local date time. Unload local date. Local date time, date piece, timepiece to bring that right into scope. Took a build. Local date time, of course. Of course it's used more than once. Did it? Now. Time. I'll just do hours and minutes for now. I don't think I need to worry about the seconds. Ooh. What have I missed? Yes, in the macros. Lib. Basically, here, when I call date format, I've got a macro that parses the string at compile time and makes sure the string is valid at compile time, and if it's not, it'll throw an error there. Unfortunately, the hard part is turning that into code for the compiler to examine. So that's why I have to do here, change all this into code. It's not pleasant code, as you can sort of see. For example, turning a month into the code month is just the same line 12 times over. Same with weekdays. Sometimes it's easier though. For example, here I'm just doing, if it's a year, I do the fully formed expression of the year, and they all get put into a vector, which gets put into the code. So this code is pretty horrible, but I think it needs to be. Where were we? Hour, minute, second, minute, hour. I am in the wrong crate. Getting my windows mixed up. That should all work now. Oh, yes, of course. Basically, in my datetime crate, I've got separate types for a datetime, a time without a date, and a date without a time. It was my original goal to have subsets of formatting strings for dates without times and times without dates, so you couldn't tell a time to print out its month number. for example, but I've since abandoned that idea, which means that instead of local date, instead of just getting the date, I want to get the entire date time. That should resolve that issue. Yes, it does. And upon running, ooh, don't want to do that. Upon running, oh yeah, 17 minutes, no, at like 3 minutes past 5, that's turning into 17:03, which is not what we want. Also, can only see one timestamp at a time. That'll make things a lot easier to understand, but yeah. So, what do we want to do here? The easiest thing to do would be, say, do it to a maximum of 2. But I don't think this will work quite as intended. For a start, because I forgot to align them to the right. To greater than meaning right. 92 people are watching me right now. That's amazing. I tried this on Twitch earlier and I got a maximum of 4, I believe. So, hi everyone, it's great to have you all here. Oh yeah, this is working a bit better, but there's a 0 missing there. Right now I can only pad with spaces, and I want it to start padding with zeros instead. It's the best way to do this. Isn't it annoying how there's always something more going wrong? You think it's going to be fine, you think, I'll just change this one thing, and I won't have to change any more. And then you find all the edge cases that you've forgotten about. I am just looking at my YouTube control room, as they've decided to name it. Okay, where would I go back? Pause the audio before I can hear myself speak. I have broken 100 people. That came out totally wrong. I have broken 100. I have broken the arbitrary number 100. I have not physically assaulted 100 people. I should clarify that. Hey everybody, hey 101 people. I am enjoying this quite a lot. I hope you are too. Anywho, we need to change the format. We need to change the format string parser. It's called parse a thing right now, I believe. Format parse thing. Yep, there it is. I need to change this to allow padding with a certain character. Now, Rust front, if I look up the front crate in Rust, I go to the I go to here. I should just stood front. What does this use to pad characters? I've seen it before, but I can't remember it. There it is somewhere. Syntax, here we go. Fill. So it's the character before the alignment? That might pose some problems. How am I going to do this? You know what? I'm not even sure. I think for now I'll just have my own fill. I think I'll just have my own fill construct, because trying to find the thing that's before the alignment, it's possible to do by, yeah, it's complicated. Plus, I think it would mean that you can't have the fill character be something that already has meaning. For example, you couldn't see, you couldn't fill it with the relate to that character, because that's already a character that has a meaning to the program. See, it's like it is catered for there. No, I'm still here, I'm just thinking about it. So I guess the only main two options are just filling it with spaces and filling it with zeros. So I could just special case 0 for now. That's 0 to args pad character equals 0. That's a really short-sighted temporary fix. I think it's going to work. So going back to here, I now change that to be O2 instead of just 2. Oh no, I don't want to do it for the hour, just a minute. It didn't like that. Why didn't it like that? Ah, because it needs to be wrapped in a sum. It needs to be sum 0 rather than just 0 to satisfy the type checker. Oh. Has that worked? I think that has worked. Oh, no, didn't work there. Ah, there aren't any 0 values there. Ooh. How come that didn't work? Tell you why it didn't work. I'm in the wrong crate. Stupid mistake on my part. Dumb damage, if you will. Huh, when you look at that. There's a 0 there. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So, let's go back here. And commit these two. Ooh. I'm complaining about tabs in my code. Is it complaining about tabs? Hang on. T. Oh, I've got tabs. That will not do. So, add source format, get add data macros lib. Also add the 0 flag to flar flag to pad with zeros instead of with spaces. This, there's not much use having your width declaration start with a 0, so this is still technically a free character. Yep. Gone in. Now switching back to push that, and then timestamps. There. Wow, we're getting features done pretty darn fast today, I think. So, what more do we have to do? I think, like LS does, we should only display either the year or the timestamp, because if files are quite old, there's not much point having the exact timestamp of them, and if they're quite recent, then there's not much point saying what year they're from. So how about that next? Yeah. So either the year or the I really don't like how it's doing that back on there. Oh, there we go. Or the hour, minute in timestamps. Is there anything else? Nothing springs to mind, unless anyone watching is willing to say something they would like me to add. I think that is what I will do, but I have been coding for an hour and a half straight, so I'm going to take a quick 5-minute or so break to relax my hands, make sure I don't get RSI or carpal tunnel or anything like that. Basically just go and wander around the house. You should do the same if you've been at the computer for as long as I have, I think. Also, my tea has gone cold. So I will see you back here in about 4 to 5 minutes. Well, it's about shortly after 6 p.m. GMT, isn't it? I was close enough in my 5-minute estimate, anyway. Hands clicked, got all the air out of my knuckle joints or whatever it is cracking your knuckles is meant to actually achieve. I don't think it's meant to achieve much at all other than making you feel good. Hey ho. Delete that paragraph, do you need any more? So, show either the year or the hour, the minute and timestamps. I think that's fair enough to do. So, at this point, we have a date. And we should compare the date to the current date. We should compare the date to the current date, see if the year of that date is the same as the year of the file. And if it is, then display the time, otherwise we just display the year. However, there's no room in here for me to actually get the current date. Well, I know I can get the current date, but because this only takes an immutable of reference to self, I would have to get the date every time I analyze the file, and that's not very efficient, so I don't want to do that. Also, in the realm of testing, I don't want to rely on a certain date only being... I don't want to have the tests work only for a certain time, if you see what I mean. So, what I'm going to do is pass in a thing here called current year as a 64-bit integer, and here we have the date, so we can say let format equals if the year is the same as the current year, then get that and that. Otherwise, we would want to... Okay, so if the year is the same as the current year, then get that, put it there. Ooh. So we've still got the month and we've still got the day. No, I think I'm doing this completely backwards. I'm just going to restart this from scratch. So we want... Again, let's kind of see just how ls does it. It puts the day first, then the month, then the year. So let's crib a little. To a day, then the month, then to on go to now a minute. Otherwise, date format of at least 4 aligned year. And if I run this, if I try to build that, it'll complain that I'm not actually passing in a year. Also, local date time does not implement any method in scope named year. That's probably because I need to not only use local date time but also date piece, which is the trait that has the year in it. I think it's saying that actually, yeah. They've added that feature a while back and sometimes it's helpful. So yeah, I've added in the date piece there. Okay, however, the final thing it's complaining about is that timestamp takes 2 parameters, but 1 parameter is supplied in file 104. Oop, nope, file 104. That's because it only gets that field from there, so we would actually have to store the current year in the column, which is a bit weird. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to align here because I'm picky, and then pass in the year there, and now it'll complain somewhere else. Yeah. Column, that's the one. So yeah, timestamp has to type, and now we give it a I64 for the current year. Oh, you can just ignore that when doing the header. The year that the program is being run on won't affect the header that gets output when it is run. Finally, in options, at time 4:30, you can go to a line directly from Control P, just use 104 at the end of your query. I did not know that. Awesome. So if I do like file : 104, sweet. Thank you for that tip. That was actually extremely helpful. Cool. Options 4:30. Ah, I'm loving it. Nice. So columns, we will need to pass in the current year to here. And find, I'll just say thanks in chat. Say thanks in chat as well, since that is a pretty good tip. So let current year equals local date time now dot year, and then we can push current year and do that 3 times. I'll need to import this from there. Use date time, local date time, and timepiece again. Because I'm getting the year as I was before, I will need that trait. There's no local date time in date time, of course there isn't. There is one in local there. I think I put that one in a submodule. I also spelled date as time. Because I'm a bit silly. Oh, and I think I put the extra argument in the wrong place. Yep. Yeah, oh, no, missed one. Even missed the key there. Oh, yes, I don't need that anymore because there's already going to be a format. Yeah, good catch, compiler. Now, I think that's pretty good. So the files that were changed last year, we don't see the date on them. Files that were changed this year, we do see the time. I mean the time. I said date when I said time again. Do this for directories such as root. We'll see that it's either the year, if it's last year, or the current time, if it's the current year. Okay, right. Diff, see what we've changed. Yeah, Everything git add source. Yeah, that did it. Only display the year it's last year. Otherwise, just display the hour and minute. Another thing that I kind of found out that I've been doing, Travis sent me a load of emails saying that I've been linking to a local version of the datetime crate. So, of course, it couldn't compile that. It is on crates.io, but an older version is, so I think now's the time when I should actually give this thing a proper version number. So, switch back to this project. We're good. There were some extra files there that I haven't finished doing yet. And so cargo.toml. Right now I have to find this as version 010. If I do bump that to 011 though, I'd have to do the same for datetime macros. Yeah, change that. Ooh. Change that to 011. Yeah, that's all I've done. And then I can do version bump, and then cargo build, cargo test. Got as many tests in here as I want there to be. Oh, some of these don't actually work. I know why. One of them, I added 0 to be a certain character when before it was an edge case. Format for I know you could add it there, but what's it complaining about? I don't really like trying to parse all this in my head. Ah, I know why. It's because this now defaults to false. And the one with 0 in it is now an edge case. No longer there. That all works. Oops. And now we can cargo package. Huh. Datetime macros need to have its own separate crate. Looking here, it's specified, but locally. Yeah, I've got it in its own folder here. Ooh, I hope this isn't going to be problematic. No matching package name that can macros required by datetime. It is required by datetime, but I'm doing it manually. It's in dev dependencies. It's being linked to locally. Where does it say that it needs that as a dependency? I don't think that's there anywhere. Or maybe, hang on, let me just check. if I go to crates.io and I search for the regex macros, that is actually there, so it does have its own crate. That's probably where I'm going wrong. So cargo build, cargo test. I don't think there are any tests for this because it's all code that makes code. Yeah, cargo package. Oh wait, so I can't upload datetime without macros. I can't upload macros without datetime. Well, I guess this is just going to be something I fix at a later date. Toggle. It does, however. I'm going to do say that it needs version 010. That one. Is this even going to work? I'm getting a little confused about cargo right now. Yeah. Problem for another day. All I have to do now is just make sure that it still builds. What's here? I have to bump date time to get it to actually build. Yeah, that's datetime macros. Locally though, not what I wanted. Does, however, still work. Cool. Right, so this is done. My little mark in there. And comes the end of my to-do list. I'm sure there are more things I'd like to add. I have none spring to mind right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop streaming for the time being, make a list of things that I'd like to accomplish, and I will have a more coherent plan of the things I plan to stream. Since right now I just made up 3 things that I wanted to do, and then I stopped when I started getting, build errors. So I'm going to plan out for the future, fix my build errors, and I will see you all at a later date. Have fun, everyone, and happy coding.